Hey everyone, with this video I'm going to show you how to convert your Snowflake connections in Celigo from using a username and password into using a username and key pair authentication. The reason for this change is Snowflake is going to start enforcing multi-factor authentication for username and passwords, and with that you're not going to be able to use an integration in Celigo using a username and password connection. Because whenever we go to connect to Snowflake, right, we're not going to be able to ask you for a multi-factor authentication code on your phone, and every time the integration runs, you're not going to want to do that even if we could. So with that, I'll show you how to convert these over. So first, I'll come over to this Snowflake documentation. This is their blog about what they're deprecating, why, and when. And you can see here, mostly for human users, they will be starting to enforce multi-factor authentication where the user type in Snowflake is a person or the user type is set to null. This is going to start taking effect in April for all accounts that don't have any custom authentication policy. In August, they'll start doing this for all human users. And then in November 2025 of this year, anybody that's a human user or legacy service won't be able to use username and password to log in. And additionally, you could do this key pair authentication for a human user. So you could keep the type as human and either log into the UI with username and password, but not use Celigo with username and password. Or you could set up the user as a service type and use the key pair authentication only. That service user would not be able to log into the UI though. So it kind of depends how you want to set it up. You can set it up as a human user with both authentication methods, or just a service user with only key pair authentication method. But if you set up the human user with both methods, you can only use the key pair method in Celigo. So with that, I'll hop on into setting this up. So if you come to the to the Snowflake documentation on how to set up this key pair authentication, you've got to create a public and private key. So with this, we'll need OpenSSL installed on our computer. And in my case, I'm using Windows, so I'll come over to this Shining Light Productions, where they've got a OpenSSL executable file that you can download. And in this case, I'm just going to choose the light version. So I'll download this and install it. I've already installed it, so you'll just need to go through that process of installing. After you set that up, you'll need to add a path, edit your path in your environment variables on your Windows computer. So if you come to environments and then environment variables, come under system variables and then come down to path, you'll edit this and you'll add this new path for OpenSSL. And I'll put this in the documentation as well. Once you have that, you'll click OK and OK. I've already got it added. After that, you'll then open up terminal. So open up the terminal. In this case, I came into my downloads folder. Let me just restart this terminal to show you from scratch. All right, so I just went into my downloads. That way, whenever these keys are created, it goes straight to my downloads folder. From there, you'll want to copy paste what Snowflake documentation is giving you. And so in this case, I'll just copy this first one, paste it in. And it's created. And next you'll want to copy the next one as well. That is to create the public key. You could additionally create one with an encryption, in which case you would then provide Celigo with the passphrase. In this case, I'm not going to do this, but you can go through those steps as well if you want. So now I'll create the public key, and there we go. Now if I bring up my downloads folder, you'll see these at the top. So if I refresh here, I've got that public key and private key. All right, so now let's go over into Snowflake. So if I come into Snowflake here, you can either alter an existing user or you can create a new user. In my case, I'm just going to create a new user, but you could alter one, in which case you could either set the type of user to service, or you could set it to human as well with the public key authentication option. I'm just going to create a new user here. So I've got Celigo IO new. Let me drop that user since I'm going to show you from scratch. There we go. And I'm setting up the default warehouse, login name, role. I'm setting up it as service type user. And then I'm going to need that public key. So for that public key that you created, you're going to want to open it in a text editor. In my case, I'll just choose VS Code. And I want to copy the value in between the beginning and ending tags, not the entire thing. So you'll just copy that and you'll paste it into this public key field. From there, you can just click run, and now I've got this new user. At that point, you'll want to come over into Celigo, and you can edit an existing connection or create a new one. I'll just make a new one real quick. Choose Snowflake. I'll name it Snowflake. Put your account name, database name, warehouse name, and you're going to want to choose authentication type key pair. Put your username, which is this, and then you're going to need that private key that you created as well. So come back and open that private key. And for this one, you'll copy the entire content. Oops. And you'll paste it into the private key field here. From there, you should just be able to test it and then save and close, and then you're good to go. And so that's pretty much it. That's how to create that public and private key to use key pair authentication. That way you don't get stuck whenever Snowflake starts deprecating username and password authentication without MFA. Thanks.